Welcome to Sew Denim Quilting. I'm Glenda Burton, and today I'm going to show you how I assemble my Star Night quilt using the denim and fabric squares that we made in the other tutorial. I made 34 of these, and I made 30 of these, and then I went ahead and squared up all of my, squared them all up, and then my next step was to start assembling them. I did lay mine out on a design board because I wanted to keep some I wanted it to be scrappy and not have any stars meet, or any stars have two of the same fabric in them. For me, I went ahead and used these clips. I did try the pens, but me and pens don't get along. So I used these lovely little clips that I got out of Amazon, and I matched up my seams as best I could. Since I'm not a professional sewer, they didn't always meet up, but that's okay. In the scheme of things, you can't really tell. I got them as close as I could. I also went ahead and clipped on the opposite side so that when I was feeding it through the machine, everything stayed together. It didn't go all wonky on me. So I went ahead and I clipped the opposite side as well. And as a reference guide as to know which side I'm supposed to be sewing on, you could use a pen at the top so that you know which side that the side that you want to sew down, just kind of as a reference guide. So I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'll be right back. The two are sewed together, and I sewed them all in groups of two. I used my design board to help me keep myself organized. Then I made my stars. This happens to be a corner piece with the corners. Basically, I did the exact same thing I did before. Yes, I have ironed these and I have used steam. It's the fun of working with denim. So I went ahead and I did the same thing before when I was sewing together. I used my little clips and I went ahead and matched up my intersections that I really needed to have meet. And I tried to make sure that they went opposite directions, but it wasn't perfect. Then some of them that's just the way the denim wants to lay, and it ends up all wonky. So I went ahead and it's a little thicker at these points, but it's okay. It's better that the seams lay somewhat flat. So again, I went ahead and pinned them together. Well, clipped them together. And I went ahead and clipped opposite to keep it from shifting. And this actually really helped keep my seams, or my intersections, much more accurate, and it also kept my 1/4 inch seam more accurate. And then again, so I know that this is the side I need to seam on. Go ahead and put a needle on the side that I'm sewing on, and then I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew my 1/4 inch seam across there. And I will be back. And the two rows now become one square with the star in it, and then points to our other stars. And you could, if you wanted to, you could do this as quilt as you go and start with and do your blocks from this size and quilt as you go, joining these together. Instead, I decided to continue joining my stars together to make sure my points match. So I'm going to make it even bigger, which you could quilt as you go from this size, but I'm going to go even bigger. I'm still going to quilt as I go because I don't have a long arm machine, and I'm going to have to quilt it myself. So I'm going to do it in 2 sections instead of several little sections. So again, the same thing as before. Match them up. And I did my best, the best I could, trying to get these to iron my seams opposite directions, but sometimes it worked, sometimes it doesn't. That's the fun of denim. And again, I'm going to go ahead and clip this side as well. Even though I'm not going to sew this side, I'm just going to clip it because it seems to help keep it from falling apart and dragging, and keeps it all together and keeps it even, keeps the side from pulling apart. So I found it to be beneficial. And our pin on the top so that we know which side we're sewing on. And to the sewing machine I go. And I will be back with these two sewed together. Okay, we've sewed these two together, and now we have kind of a row. And we're going to build on that row and make a large square. So as you can see, it's getting bigger. And again, you could go ahead and, once you sew these two together, you could sandwich these together and go ahead and do your quilting. But with this quilt, I plan on going with as few of joining seams as possible on the back. So again, I will go ahead. In this one here, I used a few more clips. Once I got to this size, I started clipping not only on this side and this side, I also did the ends, because that way, as I was running it, taking it through the machine, it wasn't trying to fall apart as much. Those up together. I'm going to go ahead and put my pin in here so I know which side I'm sewing on. And then I'm going to go ahead and clip down this side and clip the ends, and then I will go to the sewing machine and sew it together, and we will be that much closer. And now it's a bigger 4-patch. So again, as I mentioned before, this is where you could stop and start doing your quilt as you go by sandwiching this to your back and quilting it, and at this point you would only have 4 sections to quilt. I'm gonna get brave because I know I can do this width, and that this is just length that I'm going to be working on. So I don't know, I'm just saying I'm comfortable trying to quilt this one in a bigger section. So I'm going to go ahead and put the other half of the other quadrant on this one, and I will do the same thing as I have been before. I will clip. There's my other one. See, this one I already done. And this is the end, and this is the bottom. So so I know I orient them right. This is going to be on this side, and this is going to be on that side. So and as before, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually still clip it together all the way around, but making sure that I line up and make sure that all my little intersections here are clipped together. And again, you could use pins if you want to. I just found for me, these little clips worked better than the pins did. Line each little intersection up that needs to line up, and that's how I did it. This works on your OT skills. You need to have your kids work on OT skills. Have them take these things off or sort of clip them for you. Good OT skill builder. Or if you need to work on your OT skills, good way to work on them. Needle to know which side we're sewing on. I'm just going to go around and connect and make sure that I clip all the way around on all 4 sides, because this is getting heavier and harder to maneuver, and as you're shoving it through the sewing machine as you're sewing, it wants to fall down and come apart. And this, by clipping it, I found that it definitely, yeah, it's still going to slide around on you, but you're not having to try to grab and keep these connected together as you move it through. They're already connected, and it goes through the sewing machine so much easier. So I'm going to continue, and I'll see you back when it's done. All right, now we have sewed our 2 sections together into basically 4 rows or 2 rows, whichever you want it to be, call it. And I'm going to do this, or I did this with the top half as well. Here's our top half. So instead of joining these 2 together to make my quilt, I want to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and quilt this on my machine, and I'm doing it in 2 sections because this as one big quilt would be too hard for me to maneuver. So in my next video, I will show you how I do that. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I hope this helps you. in your quilting journey. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button so that you don't miss the next episode. And we'll see you next time.